But first, disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok is now ex-FBI agent Peter Strzok. Strzok, who you'll remember worked on Robert Mueller's team and helped spearhead the initial investigation into Russian election meddling, was fired in part over the countless political text messages he sent to his girlfriend Lisa Page. After being fired, Strzok responded by starting a Twitter account following Rosie O'Donnell and posting a single tweet which begged for money on GoFundMe. What does Strzok's firing mean for the Mueller investigation, the search for Russian collusion? Should it shake our faith in its foundations? Alan Dershowitz has been following this from the very beginning. He's a retired Harvard Law professor, of course, and author of The Case Against Impeaching Trump. He joins us tonight. Professor, what's the lesson of the firing of Peter Strzok for the rest of us?
Well, personally, I'm sympathetic to Strzok. He was an excellent FBI agent for years in counterintelligence. He made a very, very serious mistake. The mistake was not opposing Trump. He's allowed to do that under the Hatch Act and other statutes. He's allowed to express any views he wants. His big mistake was not recusing himself. When he was tweeting that he's going to make sure that Trump doesn't become president, that he has an insurance policy, it was clear at that point that he could not be perceived as being fair and just. And so by not recusing himself, I think he violated his position of trust. I wouldn't go too far and blame it on the very top authorities of the FBI. They didn't know. And when they did know, they did demote him and take him out of the investigation. So I think it's a blemish, but I don't think it's a fatal flaw in the investigation. I think there are deeper and more fatal flaws. But personal sympathy for Strzok, but ultimately I think it was the right decision.
But don't those texts suggest why he didn't recuse himself? I mean, it's one thing to express a political opinion. I do it for a living. I don't think I agree with you. It's not disqualifying. But he was doing more than that. He was suggesting that his opinions would in some way drive the criminal investigation that he was conducting, and that's a subversion of justice.
Well, that's the issue. He, of course, denied under oath that in any way he was influenced by his hatred for Trump in any of his professional decisions. But when he says to his friend, we're going to stop him, we need an insurance policy, whether there's the reality of interference or the perception of a thumb on the scale, that's enough to recuse yourself. That's why Rod Rosenstein should recuse himself. He is a witness in this case, and the idea that you can be the chief prosecutor and the main witness at the same time is such an obvious conflict of interest that I don't understand how he can continue to go forward running this investigation. So we have at least two major conflicts of interest, and I think it does raise some questions about the integrity of the investigation. But let's wait and see. Mueller himself, I think, is nonpartisan. I don't think he cares whether he helps Republicans or Democrats. He's a zealot, some say overzealous, prosecutor, and he's using tactics that I have disapproved of for 50 years, going after Manafort in order to squeeze him, to get him to sing or to compose. Those are very questionable tactics, but they're used over and over again against people, sometimes innocent people.
Well, they certainly are. You're right. And it's a wake-up for a lot of us who have made excuses for prosecutorial misconduct over the years. And I hope minds are changed about it going forward. But back up just 1 second to what you said about Rod Rosenstein not recusing himself. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Someone conducting an investigation, overseeing it, and being a witness in it. Why wouldn't he recuse himself?
I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I wonder if he's worried that the person who replaces him as being in charge of the investigation, remember that his boss can't do it, Jeff Sessions, recused. But I'll tell you, if one good thing has come out of this thing, one bad thing is that civil libertarians and liberals have stopped being skeptical of prosecutors. Now, every prosecutor, every FBI agent are wonderful, wonderful people. We can't criticize them. But if conservatives now become supportive of at least probing prosecutors and looking over their shoulders and asking the question, who will guard the guardians, I think it will be a very good thing for America and a very good thing for civil liberties, which is why, although I voted for Hillary Clinton, I am strongly supportive of keeping the civil liberties argument in the forefront as we go forward in this investigation.
Well, sure. Why would you want unchecked power? People with the power to destroy your life, to shoot you, to have no oversight. It's terrifying. Professor, thanks for reminding us of that.
I think it's a good thing that conservatives now appreciate that. Thank you.